Hi, Jeff here in Hungary, Central Europe, on the Terrainy Village project. And this is my third year coming back here. And I could see straight away this was a project that was going to accelerate. And year by year, it's definitely happening. It's getting more and more intense. It's accelerating away with establishment. As projects do, you know, they start off with small components and they quickly grow and get more complex, and there's more and more to film all the time. I really don't know where to start. I'm here for 2 weeks, so I'm just going to take segments of the Hungary project, in each section a small film, because there's just too much to put into one film. Plus everything's getting bigger. The food forest is leaping away. There's hundreds of extra poultry. There's ducks, there's guinea fowl, there's geese, there's lots of extra chickens. There's a lot of Hungarian breeds. There's now a herd of beef cows as well as the dairy cows, and there's sheep. There's new fish ponds. There's all kinds of infrastructure. They're building a blacksmith forge. There's all kinds of stuff. I couldn't name it all. So this is an intro to what I think is a really, really exciting project. Plus they have a lot of machinery, which I like. You know, there's tractors and there's excavators. There's even a scraper and a unimog, and there's compost turners. These people are innovators. If they can't buy it, or recycle it or repurpose it, they'll just make it and get it made. So they're practical people, and they just are getting the job done, which is great. There are traditional systems around. There's old houses, and there's a communist era where there's sort of this uniform but quite practical infrastructure. And now there's the modern period. So there's a whole set of layered history in the country. It's very much Central Europe, so it's a long way from an ocean. So it has a very hot middle of summer, gets to high temperatures, and then has a very cold middle of winter. So like whenever you get a long way from an ocean, you get a continental climate, and you get these extremes. The hottest temperatures to the lowest temperatures are worlds apart. So you've got to design everything to compensate for that. And that all makes interesting design. So I'm going to look forward to this, giving you lots of information from a nice project that's really getting moving. And look at this. But our young food forest, this is just 3 years old. And these trees are getting quite big already. This will be a beautiful shaded system in the end. And there's typically temperate climate, there's lovely herbal layers. So we have quite large temperate climate trees. We're all mixtures of things in between. So there's Jerusalem artichoke, and there's different artemisias, and there's different sages. Everything goes down in winter and looks quite bare, and then you get these rich herbal lays in summer. And this is the end of summer. And we've just got all kinds of mixtures all the way through. And it's almost like an amphitheatre here. And lots of currants and berry bushes in the understory. And of course, the larger pears, apples, plums, peaches, nectarines, quinces, they're all going to take off over the top and create a lot more shade. And the berry bushes don't mind that underneath. And we have a bit more of a wild nursery section. And then we come on round to the edge of one of the gardens, and we go back into this wild food forest. Now, Robinia pseudo-acacia, the black locust, is a major legume tree here, and it's doing a great job. But we've got free-range chickens now. At this time of year, there are free-range chickens moving right through the systems. They're cleaning up. I'm on the edge of the garden here, but it's the food forest I'm trying to explain here. You've got a lot of biomass creation And year by year, there's just going to be more. This is a lovely example of temperate climate food foresting and what it looks like at the end of summer. I'm in the kitchen garden, or one of the kitchen gardens, and the garden's coming to an end, but it still looks gorgeous. Let me give you a quick run around. There's all sorts of crop in here. You're definitely not going to starve on this project. It's just more than I could mention. There's beans everywhere. There's tomatoes everywhere. In fact, I'm very jealous of the tomatoes. There's an awesome variation of tomatoes. Comfrey interplants, herbal interplants, lots of different kales, lots of onions, lots and lots of Swiss chard. Zucchinis, well, they're just rampant in all directions. And it's just leaf crop, root crop, fruiting crop, everywhere. Jerusalem artichokes is a major root crop, large plant. But there's just beautiful variations of food everywhere. There's when you can find the footpaths, because it's also wild at the moment, there's beautiful path patterns coming right through. Have a lot of organic matter. There's silver greens and small flowers, variations of reds, and it's a confusing array of stuff that makes it very difficult for the pests to really take hold. And then we have the trellis crops. Over summer, they've harvested an enormous amount of food out of all the gardens here. And there's still plenty. There's so much on the vine here. I have the dark blue tomato there, or black tomato, some people call it. The interesting one, late to come ripe, that one. Step over this garden. And they've trialled many varieties here. There's a lot of variation of tomato. And they know their favourites. Some look good, but don't taste as good as others. I see quite a lot of bush tomato on this side. A lot of Roma there. Good sauce tomato. And then there's many different types here. Large tomatoes, orange tomatoes, yellow tomatoes. Just this endless amount of production. But it's coming to an end because it's going to go cold now. Get towards October and all this will probably be on the ground. So it's great to capture it now. And I can show you what's been going on. It's a very, very beautiful thing. Here on the Hungary project at Terrani, organic matter composting is a major part of the system. So here, this pile here is just what's come out of the poultry system shed. It's the spare mulch, bedding, plus manure that's regularly cleaned out to add to the compost. Look at the quality of this stuff. So you've got a whole row here that's going to be put down on the winter gardens. So it'll sit over the winter, partly composted, mostly manure and organic matter mixed out of the beds, out of the bedding. And this will sit ready for the spring. It'll get covered in the ice and the snow, and then go out to beyond the ground when they're ready to plant. But the organic matter of summer is everywhere. So there's apple wastes here, there's ram bales, there's enormous amounts of organic matter in surplus just sitting around, waiting to get composted. There's lots and lots of animal manures that are here and available to be mixed with basic carbon manures. And a lot of it is freely available. It's waste to other farmers. So it's paradise to all the poultry that are somewhat half free ranging and somewhat contained, but they're getting in amongst all this material and they're mixing it up. They're getting a feed and they're adding manure to it, and they're kind of creating fertility before it goes into the compost system. So it's just more organic matter than we need. And we're bringing in here square bales, which are actually going into large insulated walls. This is just surplus. But these large square bale, straw bale, 4 foot by 4 foot by 8 foot in the old imperial measurement, they make a hyper insulated wall. So there's a lot of building material here, as well as compost material and organic matter. And it's just everywhere around me. And it's wonderful to have that much surplus carbon available. Now, we also have a polytunnel here in Hungary on the Terrain project, and a tomato garden outside. There's just been a lot of surplus produced this year. Let me show you how it goes. So here, there's an enormous amount of tomatoes, and not only outside here, but also inside. Oh, and I can see some cucumbites here. So there's a lot of surplus marrows, or large zucchinis, I suppose they are. There's just more than they can actually harvest. And at this time of year, there's stuff lying around everywhere. So we've come to the end of the season, but inside the polytunnel, it'll probably keep going for a lot longer. So we have a polytunnel that's used for crop and for seedlings. And surplus cucumbers there. Had some of those for breakfast. So we have a lot of basil mixed in with tomatoes. And it's just the extra protection and climate modification of the polytunnel gives us a longer season. So a little bit of an extension here. And it's all very appropriate. It's all working fine. And it's kind of like a jungle in here. There's more of the black tomatoes. And there's plenty of cucumbers up this row here. It's all organic, of course. It's all compost and mulch. There's cucumbers hanging on the vine. And there's kind of cucumbers hanging everywhere. And it just looks like a no-fuss system when you look at it at this time of year. When I was here in April, this hadn't been planted yet. And there's still cucumbers coming. And many varieties of tomato. And this is the first year. Like, this was a brand new planted system in April, and now it's September. So last time I saw it, there was nothing happening much, just starting. And now there's crop everywhere. It's more than they can deal with. They're going to be doing a lot of processing very soon. There we go. What a great addition to the system in a climate that gets so cold in winter.